Choosing a word of the year is easy and it is so powerful in designing the kind of life that you want to be living for the next 12 months. And today I thought that I would share some tips on how to choose a word that is right for you, how to use it, and I'm also going to give a rundown of all of the words that I have picked from 2014 through 2022. In my last video, I already shared a look into my 2022 vision board and shared what came true as a result of putting that together. I have more videos coming up about sharing my word of the year, sharing my vision board, and tips on how to make your life extra beautiful this year. So if that's something that you enjoy, hit that subscribe button so that you won't miss out. Please do not overthink it. The words that are short, punchy, one syllable are the ones that can have the most impact. So don't feel like you need to pull out a dictionary or a thesaurus and be super eloquent. Some of my favorite words that I've either heard or friends have used, one of my friends chose the word no. Another friend's husband chose the word fun. I think words like stop and well are other words that may sound simple, but the simplicity is what gives them that extra, an extra oomph, a little extra something. Let the word come to you in an unexpected way. Maybe something you read in a book or hear in a song or see on a sign or even see on a menu. Keep your eyes open, keep your heart open. No matter what way it happens, if you come across a word that catches your eye, that feels right to you, adopt it. Make that your word and don't try to think too much or figure out how it's going to fit into your year. And I think that taking that approach can actually be really fun and really interesting to see how that word kind of reveals itself to you throughout the year and to see the sort of things that end up happening as a result of choosing it. One of the best examples that I can give you of this was one of my words, I'll get into that later, from 2017, and that was the word amplify. I didn't know this at the time, but for whatever reason, at the midpoint of the year, I decided that this word amplify was speaking to me, and I thought that it meant that I wanted to start sharing my content in a louder way, sharing in more places and with more people. And later that year, and this kind of blew my mind when I was going back and reviewing my past words of the year, at the end of 2017, we started a podcast for creatives. Was it because I chose the word amplify? I don't know. Maybe it had a subconscious effect on taking that path. But I love when things like that happen, when you have a word, and just as I shared in my vision board results video, expect the unexpected in the best way. Once you find your word, even if it is one of those short words, I encourage you to dig deeper within that word and think about all of the different meanings that it might have. I can't speak for all languages, but in the English language, a lot of words have multiple meanings, they can mean multiple things, and it can mean multiple things to you. One of my favorite words was the word that my friend Lauren chose a couple years ago, and that word was enough. I will link to her blog post where she shares a lot more about it, but for her, enough was a word that was going to be important to her for several different reasons. It was a way for her to be reminded that she was enough, that she had enough, but it also had this powerful connotation of being able to say no, putting your foot down, enough. Things are gonna change going forward. So allow yourself to play with your word and see all of the multiple ways that it might affect your life in the next year. It can feel like a lot of pressure to have to pick this one word. It feels super final for the next 12 months, when what happens in the next 3 months may be very different from what happens at the end of the year. So I mentioned that in 2017, I switched gears to the word amplify, but I began the year with a different word, the word refine. Feel free to do that. Don't put this pressure on yourself. You have to pick this one word and stick with it. Change course and pick a different word for different seasons or even for every month if that works better for you. I also encourage you to pick 2 words or even 3 words at once if you can't decide or if that is what feels best to you. I was just chatting with my cousin James earlier this week and I asked him, I said, did you pick a word of the year for this year? And he said, yes, I chose 2 words, joyful and adventurous. And just like you can dig deeper and find multiple meanings for your words, when you have 2 words, that can be even more powerful, and you have all different kinds of combinations and ways that you can combine them, use them in conjunction with one another, layer them, go crazy and get creative. I like to think of your word of the year as a compass. It's something that you can return to in those moments where you feel like you're lost or directionless, or you wish that someone would just tell you what to do, tell you what the next step should be. So in a way, you are kind of going to be that person for yourself. Some people like to write their word on a little Post-it note and keep it stuck to their computer. I like to put mine on my vision board. But as you're starting to think about what your word is going to be, or if you've already selected one, also be brainstorming a place or multiple places where you can put it. One other practice I have found to make my word of the year have some extra power behind it is to share it. I have a platform where I can do that. I usually share it in a blog post or on social media, but what's even more powerful, if you don't have those things, is to share it with friends and family. It's really helpful when we're having conversations throughout the year, when the people that you're closest with in your life know what you're working towards and know what that word is for you, because they can support you and remind you of it. And for me, it has become another special way to strengthen my relationships. And my last tip is to prepare for magic to happen. I already shared my story about how I chose the word amplify and we ended up starting our podcast later that year. But I also heard the best story earlier this week. I was listening to the Happier podcast, and in it, sisters Gretchen and Elizabeth had each just shared their words of the year. In their next episode, one of their listeners wrote in, this listener lives in Sweden, and she said, I had to stop listening to the podcast and write to you right away to let you know that your 2 words in Swedish are the same word. That is amazing for 2 sisters to, in English, pick 2 different words, but for them to be the same. And now, just as I mentioned that, sharing my word of the year with my friends and my friends sharing them with me, Elizabeth and Gretchen are now going to be able to support one another in an even deeper way. If you'd like to check out those 2 episodes of Happier, I'm going to leave the links to them below so that you can hear the story in its full state. So now is your opportunity to help your friends out. If you have been sharing words of the year for past years or even just last year and want to share your experience about how it impacted your life or tips on how you chose it or how it came your way, please share those in the comments below. And also feel free, if you have your 2023 word of the year, to share that below as well. I thought it would be fun to end this video by sharing all of the words that I have chosen since 2014. Let's see how it goes. The year was 2014, and I had just taken my wedding stationery business online. I had opened up an Etsy shop. I had switched gears from blogging about weddings to blogging about creativity, and there was a lot going on. I needed focus. In 2015, so many opportunities started cropping up. Collaborations, sponsorships, I had new product ideas, I had new blog post ideas, and my head was kind of spinning. I needed to hone in even further from focus and chose the word intention. Things with my business only escalated in 2016, and I was feeling a little bit braver. 2016 was the first year that I started recording videos. I started my first YouTube channel. I started using Periscope and Snapchat and talking to the camera, which once felt completely weird, but now it feels normal. And I think it was all because of my word of the year, fearless. In 2017, I started the year by feeling like, okay, okay, I kind of have this down, but now I want to get better at the things that I am really good at. And I chose the word refine. And in 2017, I must have been feeling pretty rebellious because I got halfway through the year and decided I wanted a different word. I was feeling like I wanted to share my work more freely in more places, and it ended up being a good word because it led to launching our podcast at the end of that year, all because of the word amplify. In 2018, I got even more rebellious and decided that I wasn't going to pick a word of the year, but in digging back in my Instagram archives, I found a post that stated that instead of a word, I chose a phrase, and that phrase was, you have everything you need to do everything that you want to do. The word that I chose for 2019 was probably the most profound and also the most impactful. I am still feeling the results of choosing that word. It was also the word that I did not want to let go of because I loved it so much. I even chose a symbol to go alongside it, a yellow car. Anytime I saw a yellow car, I was reminded of my word, and that word was abundance. They say that if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. And that was 2020. I was going into the year feeling really good. I had just had my first speaking engagement. Business was good, life was good, and my husband had just switched to being able to work from home. And I thought, this is the year. We can travel freely. We can see the world. But things went a little bit differently. And my word boundless became something that I laughed at all throughout the year and continue to laugh at today. After coming off of a pretty rocky 2020, the word that I chose for 2021 was one to keep my spirits up. I wanted to indulge, I wanted to be a little bit fancy, and I chose the word luxurious to carry me through the year. 2021 was a year that felt like so many things for me fell apart. My husband had lost his job, everything in my business had started to change, and I knew that I was going to need a powerful word that was going to get me back on track and to remind me of where I wanted to go and really set me up to end the year strong. I was able to remind myself of my worthiness by choosing the word worth. That brings us to 2023. What word will I choose to bring me into the next year? Stay tuned. There's even more fun to come. Still have to talk about our 2023 vision boards. I still have to share my word of the year, and you have to share yours. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button to let me know. It's an easy way for you to support my content, and it means more than you know. I'm so excited about everything that the year is going to bring for all of us. Until we meet again, get out there and make something beautiful.